you're listening to this right now and you're thinking, okay, fine, who am I really? The first thing that comes to mind is a bunch of words: kind, strong, a failure, the one who always messes things up, the one people can rely on. And here's the first trap: none of those words are you. They're labels someone stuck on you so long ago, you don't even remember the moment you accepted them as true. Try to remember, when was the last time you made a decision that was actually yours? Without the thought, what will they say? What will they think? What if I disappoint them? If you had to think hard about that, that's already your answer. A child isn't born asking, "Who am I?" A child is born with one simple instinct: I need to be loved so I can survive. And the moment that child feels, even once, that love only shows up when they behave a certain way, they learn that role instantly, not consciously. The body learns it faster than the mind ever could. For years, you play that role so well, it fuses with who you are. You're not pretending to be easygoing anymore. You believe you are easygoing. You're not performing strength anymore. You believe you're strong, even while you're falling apart on the inside. And when someone asks you, "Who are you without that role?" panic shows up. Not because there's nothing underneath, but because nobody's looked under there in years. Not even you. Here's an example almost everyone recognizes. You're with a group of people. Someone makes a joke at your expense, playfully, like it's nothing, and you laugh along with everyone else. But something tightens inside you. You haven't even processed whether that hurt yet, and your face already decided for you. Smile. That's not weakness. That's a reflex you learned before you learned how to walk. Here's the real problem. You grew up. The situation changed. Nobody is forcing you to play a role to survive anymore. But your body doesn't know that. It still reacts like one wrong move means you'll be abandoned. Like one honest emotion means you'll be judged. Like one true sentence means the relationship ends. So every time you try to just be yourself, anxiety shows up. Not because being yourself is dangerous, because it's simply unfamiliar. Your nervous system has never actually seen what happens when you don't play the role. And anything unfamiliar, it automatically reads as a threat. Now look at it from another angle. At work, you're composed, confidential, professional. Around your parents, you're small again, like you're 10 years old, even if you're 35. With your partner, you're warm one moment and cold and closed off the next, and you don't even know why. And it starts to feel like you're an imposter in every single version of yourself. But here's what matters. None of those versions are fake. The problem isn't that there are many of them. The problem is that not one of them feels safe enough for you to just relax and exist. Every version is a set of defenses built at a different time for different people under different stakes. And that brings us to the hardest question of all. If everything you show the world is just a defense mechanism, then where are you? The honest answer isn't comfortable. You're exactly where you're most afraid to look. in the exact spot you learned to hide first. Think back to the moment you were first shamed for what you felt. Don't cry, you're a boy. Don't be so sensitive. Stop making a scene. In that moment, the feeling didn't disappear. It just went underground. And from underground, it's still running the show. Except now you call it personality, a habit. I'm just built this way. But it's not personality. It's a frozen point of development that never got permission to keep growing. And that's exactly why just thinking about yourself doesn't fix anything. You can spend hours analyzing why you're like this. Build the perfect theory about your childhood, your parents, your wounds. And still, in the actual moment, when you have to just be yourself in front of another person, your body tenses up again, grabs the familiar mask again, plays the role again. Because analysis lives in the mind, but the defense lives in the body. And the body doesn't listen to explanations. It only listens to what gets repeated over and over as proof that it's finally safe. And that brings us to the question that actually matters. What does the body count as proof? Not words, not promises, not a decision you made one evening. The body only believes in repeated experience. Think of it this way. Your nervous system isn't a judge listening to arguments. It's a statistician. It counts. How many times honesty ended in pain? How many times vulnerability ended in judgment? How many times being real ended in being alone? And based on that count, it builds a forecast for the future. That's why one good conversation doesn't change anything. One moment of being accepted exactly as you are doesn't erase years of the opposite. That's uncomfortable to hear, but it's honest. Change doesn't happen through insight. It doesn't happen the moment you suddenly understand something. Change happens through accumulation, through small cases where the forecast turned out to be wrong. You were afraid you'd be rejected if you told the truth, and you told it, and you weren't rejected. That's one case. The statistics haven't shifted yet, but a crack just appeared in the old map. Do it again, and again, and each time the system trusts its old forecast a little less. Not because you convinced it with words, but because reality stopped matching the danger it expected. This is why environment matters more than motivation. You can't force yourself to feel safe through willpower, but you can slowly put yourself in situations where safety gets confirmed, again and again. That's what actually rewrites the pattern, not analysis. New experience that contradicts the old prediction. So it's not enough to just understand where the mask came from. Understanding gives you a map, but the map doesn't walk for you. The question worth asking isn't, why am I like this? It's, where can I let myself control a little less, perform a little less, and just see what happens? Not with a stranger on the street, not in the riskiest situation of your life. In one small, safe, almost invisible moment. One honest sentence where you used to stay quiet. One pause before automatically smiling through the pain. One time you said, "This is hard for me right now," instead of, "I'm fine." It won't look like a breakthrough. It'll look like nothing. But that nothing is exactly where change begins. Because the system doesn't trust big declarations. It trusts small, consistent evidence. And here's the most important thing to take from all of this. You're not broken. The fact that you wear masks, play roles, forgot who you are without other people's expectations, that's not damage. That was the smartest strategy a child could come up with, given the conditions they had. It worked. You survived. You adapted. The only problem is, a strategy built for one set of conditions is still running in a completely different one. That doesn't mean you need to fight that part of yourself. It doesn't need a battle. It needs new evidence. Evidence that things are different now. That it's safe to slow down now. That it's safe to be honest now. That it's safe to drop the mask and nothing terrible happens. And every time you give it that evidence, even in the smallest moment, you're not becoming someone new. You're returning to someone who was always there, just waiting a long time for permission to come out. You're not searching for who you are. You're taking back what was already yours before you ever had to hide it.